Hi beautiful people, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rori Mabogoane, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. It's great to have you in my little corner of YouTube where we speak all things adulting, faith, career development, personal development, the works. Anything and everything that is relevant for us to navigate our young adult lives. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That red button better turn gray. Give this video a massive thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment down below what you enjoyed about today's video and what other videos you'd like to see. Share this with anybody and everybody who you think might need it. And last but not least, hit those notification bells so that you do not miss another video. So without wasting any more time, let us get straight into today's video. As you can tell, I'm not alone. We are in our next segment of our Vlogtober career series. And guys, I'm bringing you guys the best of the best. I'm bringing you guys the best of the best, please. So you'll see a very familiar face sitting next to me, a very beautiful familiar face. And if you haven't watched the previous videos that we've done together, head over to her channel and my channel to go and watch the pros and cons of management consulting. That's what it was, right? It was such a long time ago. Go and watch that because that was actually our previous life, but it's still very relevant today. And our career moves were actually quite similar. And I'm going to give her an opportunity to introduce herself, and then we'll get into why I'm saying some of the things that I'm saying.
Okay? Yes. So, hey everybody, I hope you guys are excited for this career series. You have done so much already, so that is great. My name is Yolandi PIETERSEN. I am a product specialist. I am also a part-time content creator, so check out my socials. It would be linked down below. And I'm also a small business owner. Yeah, other than that, I do a lot of things, but those are the key highlights of who I am.
Okay. And I feel like she's being very modest, right? Check her out on TikTok. Check her out on Instagram. Check her out on LinkedIn. Check her out on YouTube. I'm forgetting something, but check her out.
Those are the ones.
Yeah. Listen, check her out because I think our journeys are very similar. She does have a few more years experience than I do, and that's why, in as much as I find myself in a similar space than that you are in, it only made sense for me to bring her in as our big sister, you know? Nature's
so
it, you know.
Cool.
But yeah, no, we're not formal. You'll see very soon that we are clowns within this life. But nonetheless, so as I mentioned, Yolandi and I used to be management consultants, and we recently moved into banking. She moved a year before me or so, I think. And now we are bringing you guys banking content. Yeah. We're bringing you banking content. She is a product specialist, and as I mentioned in my career updates, I'm pretty much working very closely with product specialists / product owners / product managers. So we are basically in the same space. So without wasting any time, let's get into the first question for today's career series. Can you explain to the people, to me, what is a product specialist?
Okay, so I don't like to give formal definitions, right? I like to give my own little explanation so that people can understand it a bit better. But basically, a product specialist is basically an expert who looks after a product.
Okay.
And I want to make it as simple as possible. If you own a laptop, whether it is a Dell, whether it's a Lenovo, there is a product specialist behind that. Yeah. But what a product specialist basically does is make sure that the product is fit for the market needs, the client needs, regulatory needs. I'm specifically in the banking space, so there is a lot of tight regulations, and it's important to make sure that the products are up to standard. So yeah, that's what I do. A product specialist looking after a specific product. Yeah. In my space specifically, debit orders and collections.
Okay. And that is within your EFT house, right?
Absolutely. That is within our EFT product house.
Okay. Just for some clarity on my end, I'm within the card space. So my product house would be the card acquisition / card issuing space. But that's a video for another day. But basically we work, our jobs underline the same things, just in different product houses.
Yeah. And I think when we talk about product specialists, it's important to know that you can be a product specialist literally in any type of company. Yeah. Whether, like I said, whether it is a beauty product that you look after, whether it's a laptop, like I explained, whether it's card on your side, whether on my side it's collection. So you can basically be a product specialist in various fields.
Right. Okay, awesome. I hope that clarifies what a product specialist is. I get a lot of these questions about, Rori, what are you doing? She has now told the nation what a product specialist is. Okay, let's head over to the next question. Okay, so now that we understand what a product specialist is, what they do, I think the most important thing that you would want to know is what the main aspects of your day-to-day job look like. You know, it's great to have this title, but what does every day look like for you?
So rocky. Very busy and very rocky.
Yeah.
I think majority of my day, besides it being filled with meetings, which is a standard thing because we work with products and customers, I do a lot of product development. So what product development basically means is you make sure that the current product that is existing is either enhanced or you come up with a new product. So it's a lot of meetings between various teams because we work with a lot of various teams, whether it's developers who's actually developing our product, whether it's business analysts who's writing our requirements. So it's a lot of product development that goes on into my day to day. And then stakeholder engagement, like I mentioned, so that it would be your meetings. Then we've got market research to make sure that we are ahead of our competitors.
We are competitors, by the way.
Yes, we are. We are. So making sure that we are ahead of Rori and them. And then
I'm working hard to make sure I'm ahead of them.
So there's that aspect as well. I don't think research ever disappears because you need to make sure that your product is always, up front. And yeah, I think a lot of performance analysis as well when it comes to your actual product, especially after implementing a product. It's important to make sure that your product performs the way you guys saw it fit to perform for your customer.
And if it isn't performing how it's supposed to, what's going wrong, how can we fix it and implement whatever those fixes are.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. That is great. I think it's funny that I find it hilarious that we do the same thing, actually, considering that we used to do the same thing. But yeah, so product specialists, product owners, product managers, the terms are interchangeable in my honest opinion because they all do the same thing. It's just that some are a bit higher than others.
Yes.
But regardless, you're working very closely with your tech teams to make sure that the requirements that your business analysts have drawn up go through to them to implement. On my side of life, I actually am part of the testing as well. So I will stay up on a Saturday night from 8 until midnight to make sure that the tests are going the way they're supposed to, So there's a lot of it that happens behind the scenes. You guys see your money app or your F&B app or your Capitec app or whatever. You see the front end, you see the products that are there, what Standard Bank is offering, but we are behind the scenes making sure that those products essentially are up running when there's a fault in the system and you guys are offline, you guys are shouting, and then you guys shout and the shouts get to us.
It
does. So that is essentially what the main aspects of the day-to-day of a product specialist looks like. So now that we know what the day-to-day looks like, a lot of you are asking because a lot of this audience, you guys are either in varsity, in high school, or you're very early on in your career trying to see whether you took the right career path or whether you can pivot into something else like we did. And the biggest question is, what do you need to study to become a product specialist? Because, you can't just wake up, So what does that look like? What do you need to study?
So you can't really advise someone as to you need to go study X, Y, or Z. The thing about product specialist is I think it's more about the skills that you have compared to what you studied. So I would say, for instance, problem solving is a very big skill to have. Analytical thinking is a very big skill to have. An example, in my team, I specifically studied BCom economics and then I did my honors in economics as well. In my team, we've got people who studied BSc computer science, we've got engineers, we've got people who have been in the bank for about 15 to 20 years, and those individuals don't really have a formal degree, but they've got really, good banking related short courses or certification.
They started as sales consultants and work their way up pretty much.
So I can't really say study something specific, but have the specific skills to get into the role, and also note that it's very much broad, much broad.
Yeah. Okay. And now that you're noting those skills, you mentioned analytical thinking. You mentioned basically stakeholder management earlier on as well. You mentioned quite a few. What are the top 3 for you? I know this isn't part of what we had prepped to speak about, but I think because this is such an open-ended question, I think people would definitely need to know that.
So the top 3 skills that I would say a product specialist should.
Yeah.
The first one is problem-solving skills. And I know it sounds like a cliche, right?
Yeah.
But we're solving problems every single
day.
So problem-solving is the top one. Communication, both verbal and written, very important, because number one, you communicate with a lot of people. There's a lot of documents that you need to write up. Product guides is my nightmare. And that requires really good writing skills. And then thirdly, I would say analytical skills as well, just so that you can do some numbers, some data. It's important to have basic data analytic skills. The one thing that I want to recommend though, Rori mentioned earlier, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the platforms. On TikTok, I'm way more active there. And on TikTok, actually on my pin, there's a great video that I created.
The short courses that
yes. So go check out that video. It's about all the short courses that I would recommend to students, and that is going to set them up for success.
And I think young adults as well. I mean, I've taken note of those short courses, and I have them on my list of things to do. I'm enrolled in some of them already, so I think it's very important. And we always speak on this channel about continuous upskilling, continuous learning. It doesn't just end when you get your degree. And as you can see, both of us are technically in technically in jobs that have nothing to do with what we studied. So with that being said, you need to upskill yourself in one form or the other, and that is exactly what we do. And finding those short courses are gems for us to flourish as young professionals.
And I think you mentioned now, you need to continuously develop. I always advise students who actually who's just finishing their final degree or their final year, I always advise them to do an extra course the last couple of months while you're busy firming up that degree. Go do a short course that's going to set you apart from your peers. So I always advise that. So take it.
That's good, and it looks good on your CV as well.
It absolutely does.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now that we've kind of bedded down that there are so many different ways to get into product specializing, especially within the banking space, there's a bit more of a personal question that I want us to delve into, and this is a question that I think both of us get quite a lot, especially from people who have been following our channels for a really long time, but also who have checked out our LinkedIns and so forth to see what we're up to. As we mentioned, we were both management consultants, and you made the transition before me into banking, so I wanted to find out how and why you did that, because a lot of us get side eyes for choosing to leave consulting, and
why did I leave? I think the thing with consulting is you get exposed to so many different areas of work. Me specifically, I've been part of strategy projects, project management, economic development, people advisory. So in your early years in consulting, you are such a generalist that you focus on various things.
Agreed.
So the reason why I moved into banking is because I knew at some point I really wanted to be a subject matter expert, what they call an SME. So I wanted to be that, and I knew, I think in my second year of consulting, I had a bit of a banking stint, which was very short, the digital bank that there is right now. So I actually consulted for them. I was a testing analyst there.
Girl.
It was literally one of those, those short classes they give you in consulting.
And it was literally more than they expected you to learn.
Exactly. It was actually one of those. And as I was walking down from our main building in Sandton down to the client's building, I actually said,
actually
really
like
like
this.
I actually like banking.
Yeah.
And in my second year of being a management consultant, I always knew that I was going to pivot into banking. And it so happened that in 2022, towards the end of the year, I got retrenched, and it was a blessing in disguise.
I was so stressed on her, guys. You have no idea how much I stressed about Yolandi throughout those few. I was like, guys, my friend does not have a job
At all. I was living my best life, but
she was still going on holidays. I was like,
I was. So I think that for me is just another lesson, right? I had so many questions then. Why am I being retrenched? Like, people following me for my career. I'm good at what I do. I started so hard. I'm a hard worker. Why am I being retrenched? So I had very tough conversations with God as well. But I think for me in that season, God was just like, hold on. I got a plan. Like, relax, And that's exactly what happened. I lived my best life for 2 months straight. It was October and November.
Guys, I was just summer willing. From the WhatsApp states, I was just
I was all over. And people were like, girl, where do you get the money from? And I was just like, that's why it's so important to save money. Emergency funds are very important. So and then I got retrenched, and then in January 2023 I started my new banking job. So why I left management consulting is really because I was retrenched, but it was my season to move. I didn't know yet that it was my season to move, and now I'm like, wow, it was actually my time to move. And maybe just to answer also how I got into banking as well, there is multiple ways to obviously apply for various roles. So myself, I went through a recruiter. So I always say going through recruiter is a bit more easier than applying on websites. I literally looked at my dashboard when I applied for this job that I have right now, and I saw like 14 failed applications where I was rejected, and then that one was successful. That was with the recruiter. So I used the recruiter, made sure that I updated my CV. That's very important. If you are a student, if you're a young professional and you're looking to update your CV, I got a business, okay?
She's your girl.
I am your girl.
Set up a consultation. She's your girl.
I am your girl. So I do CV updates, I do interview preparations, career coaching. So reach out.
And baby girl actually helped me with my transition as well. I'm sure Yolandi, every time she saw my call or my message, she was just like, what does this girl want? But she also helped me. We didn't go through the same recruiter. A different recruiter helped me get my job. But when it came to interview prep, when it came to making sure my CV was updated, all of that stuff, Yolandi helped me with. We would like sit at coffee shops until they were closing, literally, for her to help me prep for that season. Because for me, it wasn't that I got retrenched, but for me, I just felt that, and I've got a whole video on how, to know when it's time to leave your job. But I wasn't feeling that sense of fulfillment anymore, and I really felt like I needed something that would challenge me and that would grow me. And banking seemed like the right thing, because I was going for, don't think I didn't go to the management consulting firms. I was, but there was clearly a reason for why I kept getting rejected, and similar to you, then I knew when I got into banking that, it was because there's a specific season that God wanted to put me in, so I absolutely I agree with everything that you've just mentioned.
And I think the one thing that we always tend to forget is when we are being rejected, when we're failing at something, maybe it's really just not the time for that right now. And it's so important to stay close to God and to also speak to Him about the things that you're going through on a daily. And when you get that sense of clarity as to, that's why, I think that's when it starts feeling better and it starts getting better as well.
The season becomes a bit more bearable. I must say, because I think my season lasted 6 months. We were in it for 6 months.
That's long,
it was long, and I was just like, Lord, why do I keep getting rejected? And that's when we know that delay is not God's denial, when we know that rejection is God saying, wait, girl, I've got something better for you. I've got something better for you. Okay, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I think I was more stressed than you were in your season of retrenchment, but nonetheless,
I was living my best life.
she was living her best life. But thank you so much for sharing that story with us and being vulnerable about what actually happened. Because, yeah. Okay, now that we've gone through the emotional things, I don't think they were emotional. I think they were life lessons, and life lessons that go beyond just career. But you mentioned earlier on in the video that you studied economics, both your undergrad and your postgrad. So from a next steps point of view, what would that look like if you're trying to build your career, you're a young professional, you're a young grad? What are those next steps after you've completed your studies?
So, like I mentioned earlier on, I always advise students to do a short course, a certification that is going to set you ahead of your peers. Remember, everyone wants to complete their first degree and then they think, oh, now I want a job and everyone must just give me a job. No, you need to stand out. You need to be set apart from your peers. So go do a short course. If you want to be somewhere in the systems engineering or software development space, go do a coding short course, you know. So do something firstly that's going to set you apart. I know December holidays you feel like taking a rest, but use the first few months. Use the first few months to do a short course. And then, you know, after that short course, I always say people need to start applying for jobs in March, the year of their graduation. Like
which I did. Yeah, I did that as well.
Same. So if you are, for instance, completing your studies at the end of 2025, then you need to start applying in March 2025.
Correct.
So that you have multiple interviews, multiple opportunities to also improve your interview styles and, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's when application starts. Don't start your application in December of the year of you finishing.
In December of the year that I was finishing, I was signing my contract. They were waiting for my final results. Literally, that's how it was.
So, but I mean, if you are someone that is in that space, I would say definitely use the time. If you have free time, when you are applying and stuff like that, do short courses for sure. And you can do a lot. Like I mentioned, go check out the video. It's a very, very helpful video. And
I'll link it down below.
Yeah. And then I guess once you have gotten the role, after your applications, going through the interview process, once you have gotten your role, then it's really time for you to get those valuable skills and really stand out. Yeah. I always say when you walk into a new space, and this is something that I also do when I walk into a new space, not from an ego perspective, but more like I know this person. I always make sure people know who I am, and you can be very subtle about it, very strategic about it.
No, it is good. It is part of networking, and I think you'll hear that a lot throughout the career series. We're speaking a lot about networking, a lot about upskilling, a lot about those short courses, because that is the reality of what we need to do. Having a degree is not enough. We all have the degrees. So what are they going to see on your profile that says, oh, she's different, he's different, and that's exactly what it is. And even after the job, for example, I got to my new job this year and I started grinding with short courses. I was like, even though I've already gotten the job, I want to upskill myself in a way that I can hit the ground running as quickly as possible. You know, whether it's from a terminology point of view, whether it's from a systems point of view, because guys, banking, those acronyms, guys, there's a lot, you know. So putting yourself in a position where even though they know you're new and they probably expect you not to know that much, you shock them in a meeting when you throw in a word there and it's like, oh,
she knows that,
you know. Okay, so do that. I think it goes beyond just after graduation. In any new job, make sure that in your season of having signed or in your season of waiting to sign and starting your job, take that time for short courses, take that time to do research, take that time to upskill yourself, so that when you get there, because for myself as well, the goal is to become a subject matter expert within my field, you know. And when you get there, they're able to start recognizing, oh, Yolandi actually knows more than we thought she did, you know. Maybe we can trust her with a bit more, and that's because you went the extra mile. So just for instance, myself, when I joined banking, PASA is our industry body.
So it's the Payments Association of South Africa. So PASA is our industry body, and I went the first couple of months being within the bank. I went to go do a PASA course. So it was a foundational payments course, and it basically just teaches you about the national payment system. I didn't know about the NPS when I joined, and I actually went to go do that course, and it was so weird that I found people within the organization that has been there for probably 5-6 years,
and they didn't even know how.
And they don't even go for those courses, you know. And the nice thing is the organizations that we work for actually have a budget set out for these things. So definitely do upskill yourself when you go into a new space. And I am never shy about telling people I don't come from a banking background. I'm never shy to let them know, because
then talk to me like a 5-year-old so I can understand what you're talking about.
Exactly. And there's just, I think there's a completely different video that we need to create about how to network when you're starting a new job.
I agree. And also with that, another video on how to network for myself as an introvert, because we have two very different personalities. She's quite extroverted and quite out there, and I'm the complete opposite. Yet I'm still getting it done. You know, I'm still getting that networking done. As painful as it is, it's very necessary. We wouldn't have met if it wasn't for networking as well. You know, so small things like that, and we've turned out to be beyond just fellow content creators. You know, so things like that are very important. Building those lifelong relationships that will help you during different phases of your career are extremely important. But we'll do another video. She's here committing.
I will.
She's here committing to say that she'll be here again.
I got you guys.
Soon. So you mentioned earlier on in the video that you studied economics, and I think I quickly just want to touch on that before we move on to, you know, meatier things. But what types of jobs can one look for having studied economics or basically anything BCom related?
I always say having a BCom degree is like cherry on top. The world is literally your oyster. You can go into any organization and apply there. Any company that is trying to make money needs someone with a BCom background, because our degrees is so versatile. We touched on marketing, we touched on economics, business management. There's a lot that we touched on. You can literally apply for anything. I always advise students, don't feel like you're not allowed to apply for a job, even if it's just saying BCom marketing and you have a BCom accounting or BCom economics degree. Apply for it. So
because at some point those modules overlap in university.
No, they absolutely do. And I always just say it's important to do what you enjoy. Do what you enjoy. And I think a lot of people miss that. When people ask me for career advice, I always ask them, what are you most passionate about? Which industry excites you? Go into that space. So start looking for jobs in the space where you're interested in. If it's retail, if it's telecommunications, if it's social media, look for jobs in that space.
Agreed. And I know it's very cliche to say, you know, follow your passion. But sometimes if you can actually monetize your passion in a sustainable way, do that. If you are, like she said, passionate about content creation, we have content or social media managers, we have virtual assistants, we have so many different careers that you can tap into. But I always only say it with that caveat to say, only if you can monetize it in a sustainable way. Because you can't tell me, never mind, I was going to be, never mind, let me leave it. I was going to be shady, let me leave it there, guys. So the people are asking, we were just talking now about money, about monetizing our passions. The juicy question that I always want to know, what are the salary ranges for someone who is a product specialist, whether they're coming in, whether they're more mature in their career? What are those salary ranges? Because I'm quite sure they're sitting there and they're like, yeah, they're laughing and they're kiki, but
we want
is there money? Is there money in the bank account?
Where is the money?
Where's the money?
So this one, I like to answer it in 3 parts, right? Because a product specialist salary can range based on your experience, based on your location, the industry that you work for,
the amount of products you take care
of a lot, right? So I'm going to answer it in this way. So you can get an entry-level salary, anything between 300,000 rand and 500,000 rand
Mhm.
per annum. Mid-level is anything between 600 and 1 million per annum, and then senior is anything above a mil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. No, that's good, and that's interesting. And I think to emphasize that this is based off of where you're working. It's based off of your location. It's based off of whether the company is in South Africa or you know, it's abroad. There's so many factors that make it diverse. So if you are now watching this video and you work at Capitec or you work at Standard Bank and you say, well, I don't earn that, or I don't earn, if you work at FNB or Absa, and it's all dependent on that. It's also all dependent on where the company is and how they're performing at that moment in time. Right now, the macroeconomic environment isn't the greatest for us. So banks also get affected. When you guys aren't spending money, we get affected. So as such, you know, it does vary. Your increases will vary every year, and your bonuses will vary every year, and all of that jazz as well.
And I think the one thing that is also important to note is I might be on the same level as someone, but earn completely different to that person because it depends on
where you come from as well.
Yes. Hence, I always say, like, when I was in consulting, and I'm not going to say which specific job, when I was in consulting, I was shocked. I was shocked.
You
got to a point.
When you told me, I was shocked.
Yeah. We basically got to a point where we saw everyone's salaries, and I was shocked that, you know,
you were earning almost double somebody
what
who was
the,
a senior.
yes. Yeah. So it really depends on, number one, your background, where you've been. That's why I always advise students in the early years of starting out. In the early years of starting out, max 2.5 years at a company, move on.
It's not your father's company. That's my mantra these days. Really, it's not your father's company.
Because you know why I say stay for 2.5 years and then move on, right? Guys, we work because we want to have a specific lifestyle. Yeah. We're not just saying we're working for money, we also working to become, but money is important part of why we're working. And staying at an organization for 2 years, 2.5 years, you can move on. It's great. You've learned enough.
Yeah.
Move on to the next company. But there comes a point in your life where you need to stay put.
Of course.
And
but
then
that time will come.
Yes, that time will come. Yeah. And I always say it's about maybe like after 8 years of working, then you need to start building to really be in a senior role wherever you are planted. So
that's looking at like 5+ years per company. But in the early phases, I always say to people as well who will message me saying, hey, I don't know if it's the right time to leave. I feel like I've only been here for 2 years. It's not your father's company.
Yeah.
If there is an opportunity out there that makes sense for where you want to take your career, emphasis on makes sense for where you want to take your career. Don't just be job hopping because so it needs to make sense. If there's an opportunity, take it.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah, but I think also, I get it. Everyone's careers are different. If you are at an organization and you stayed for 2 years and there is a promise of you getting this big jump to a specific role, then I would say think about staying. Yeah. But the money needs to make sense, because always consider you staying there and getting that jump is probably going to be less. The money that they're going to give you is probably going to be less than what a new company will give you.
100%.
But it's just my 2 cents on money.
100%. And yeah, there's a lot that we can speak about when it comes to money, but we'll stop that conversation there. But those are essentially the ranges from a salary point of view when it comes to being a product specialist, whether it's entry level all the way up to senior. And as Yolandi mentioned, once you reach senior, really it's not big money. 1 million is actually not a lot of money, guys, when we think about it. But it's over a bar, and you can work with that do with that information what you must. Do with that information what you must. So we have reached the point of the video that always makes me sad, because I love kicking with Yolandi, guys. It's my most favorite thing to do. But in closing, are there any last words that you want to share with the audience, whether it is someone who's watching as a high scholar, as someone in varsity, someone who's a young professional still trying to navigate their career, any nuggets of wisdom that you would like to leave them with?
I think for the high school students and for the students that are about to go into the working space, high school students always see on TikTok that Yolandi studied economics. Oh, I'm interested in a career. Maybe I should study.
Yeah.
I am not here to advertise and promote any career. I'm not here to advertise and promote any degree or industry. Remember what I always say, we all have different career paths. Make sure that you do something that you enjoy. So if you want to think about what is it for me after high school, what is it that I want to study, what type of subjects did you enjoy in high school? And it's going to be easy, guys. Have a look at your transcripts. Which ones are you performing?
Yeah, those are the ones you enjoy the most.
Yes, because with me, the mistake I made when I went to varsity is I went to apply for chemical engineering because chemical engineering has a lot of money. Guess what?
I went stats, guys.
You see,
math showed me, ne?
Yeah,
math showed me what it is.
So just always remember that you need to do something that you enjoy, and we all have different career paths. So definitely choose something that you would enjoy. And then for the ones who are actually in their careers already, I always say networking is important. Go beyond and above what you're currently doing, what your day-to-days are. I have unlocked so many opportunities in the bank where I'm at right now in, such a short space of time. Because
you started popping in months, dude. I was like, oh, you just arrived.
And I was hosting town halls, I was hosting, events and stuff like that. So tap into your skills as well. I knew I'm very good at planning, and I know I'm a socialite, I'm a social person. So I head up the social committee as well. It's a small thing, but you will be noticed. So make sure that you network. Very important.
I agree. Network, we'll do another video. It's fine. I'm not even going to touch on it anymore because we'll do another video. But I share 100% of the same sentiments that you've just spoken about. Number one, speaking about what you enjoy. You don't want to find yourself in a dead-end career simply because you thought that there's going to be money. But when you wake up, tears are rolling down your face every day. You don't want that. So taking care of your mental health is extremely important. And that also goes to choosing a career that you will wake up and say, where can I be fulfilled today? And yes, sometimes we find ourselves in positions, we do understand the economic landscape that South Africa finds themselves in. And sometimes any job is a job, and you have to take it. But if you are in a position where you have the power to choose the job that you're going to go into, choose something not for the money. Yes, the money is good. And we mentioned that, there's lifestyles that we're trying to maintain and so forth. But if you are going to wake up and be miserable the next day, I'm not too sure about it. So are we good?
We are good. I think maybe the one thing that I also wanted to mention, which is something that I can't leave here without saying, because we are content creators, career content creators, and we put our lives out there. I think majority of the time we do this not for you guys to come into what we specifically doing, but really for you guys to have an idea of what it looks like, from a career perspective. So make sure that you choose your own career path. The reason why I'm saying this is because I've been in consulting. A lot of people followed me for consulting,
guys,
and then they were excited,
and then it's like,
yes. So then it was consulting, and it was just amazing. Consulting is great. And then I went to banking, and now everyone is interested in banking. No, remember what I say. I'm still a very big advocate for consulting. Very big. If you can go and be a consultant,
guys, if you can start your career,
if it's like 3, 4, 5 years, you're setting you up. Yeah, you're setting up for success.
Yeah. No, similar. I will always say I do not regret starting my career in consulting because I would not be as well everything that I am, whether it's well spoken, whether it's being able to present, whether it's being able to be resilient, whether that emotional maturity, not just from a technical point of view, but all of it. Becoming such a well-rounded young professional, I would not be there had it not been for my consulting career.
And you see these things when you actually get to the bank. People that have been in the bank for 5, 6, 7 years, people who are my age, people who are on my level. There's just certain skills that I have that they're like, how, where?
Yeah.
Consulting.
Yeah, consulting, 100%. That's how I found myself leading teams of people who are decades older than me.
Yeah.
Consulting. So with that, we have unfortunately reached the end of today's video, but we will continue seeing Yolandi on my channel. We'll continue seeing me on her channel. We just have a sisterhood like that, and we continue to just bridge that gap for each other. So thank you so much for sharing your nuggets, sharing your wisdom, and always being willing to come on and share your wisdom with my people. Our people, because I think our tribes are quite similar actually. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I will continue being the annoying little sister that continues to call on you.
Talking about our subscribers, I'm coming back, guys. You guys know what's tea. You guys
She's
know.
Coming.
You guys know I'm at school grind. You guys can see I don't get enough sleep. I just did my sister a favor right now.
And it's because she loves me. She's going back to the books.
I'm back to assignments after this.
But yeah, no, she is coming back. Just give her some time. There are certain phases of our careers where we do need to go and literally lock in and upskill. And that's what she's doing. And I'll be following in some years to come as well. So allow her the space. Don't bombard her, because I know she doesn't know how to say no. So please don't bombard her. But anyway, thank you so much once again. And don't forget to follow her. Don't forget to make sure that you tap into her content, because in as much as she's not as active now as she used to be, there is still some gems that you can find on her channel. She does remember us from time to time, so don't forget to comment, subscribe, all of that on her content. And on this channel, similarly, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share this with anybody and everybody in your circle. Let's keep the family growing, guys. The road to 5,000 subscribers. We are almost there. Let's keep the family growing with so much love and so much light from me to you. Have an amazing rest of the day. Stay safe and God bless. And we'll see you on the next Vlogtober Career Series video. Bye, guys.